I'm good.
Greetings, friends and fellow aliens, and thank you for tuning into this video. My name is David. This is Jacqueline. We're going to talk to you about some INFJ stuff.
Hi.
Hi. She has a channel too. You know who she is. We're all
Yeah.
good. We're all friends here. My sweet, sweet INFJs. I wanted to talk about 5 of the most difficult life lessons, 5 hardest life lessons as an INFJ. Things that you will come across and experience during the course of your existence
As an INFJ
that kind of suck.
in life.
Yeah, that can be difficult.
Yeah.
Now look,
It's like stuff that I wish I knew.
right.
Like if somebody was going to give me like a user manual.
An INFJ user manual. I want to write that as a book, and it's going to be called "Congratulations and I'm Sorry."
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, the INFJ handbook.
bestseller right
Maybe
there.
it might be a thing.
Seriously.
You know what? If you want that, just like say so in the comments.
Yeah.
I'm down to pen something. Speaking of, to support this channel, please, pretty please, pick up a copy of my book. It's called The Caretaker. It's on Amazon and Kindle, and it's really good. It's a supernatural book, and it's 350 pages of like awesome stuff. And the main character is an INFJ.
There's some other cool characters in there
There's
too.
some other cool characters in there too. Sure, thank you for that. And and yes, that would be a great way. If you're not into the reading thing and you'd like to support this channel, I've got some links down in the description. Just throw me a couple bucks on my Venmo for a bag of candy corn
We like Starbucks.
or coffee, and that's fine too, or tea, or whatever. Anyway, to the topic at hand. Okay, so 5 things that as an INFJ will be some of the most difficult things for you to encounter and get past during the course of your life. I come to you with experience being an INFJ. I'm a little bit older, and so I've been through a
not
couple
that
things.
old,
Whatever.
I've been through
It's
stuff
fine,
too.
just shush you. So number 5 on my list is understanding that when people hurt you, it comes from a place of their hurt. And oftentimes not because of you. I mean, sure, sometimes people are jerks, right? And you've earned somebody talking to you in a bad way. But for the most part, when people hurt you or they lash out at you, as an INFJ, it's coming to terms with the fact that that tends to come from a place of their own personal hurt and projection, and is often not a reflection of you. However, you've got that low FI. You've got that critical parent, right? Your introverted feeling is in your shadow stack, and that is going to tell you that they are right, even if they're not right, because it just kind of wants to gang up and pile on and tell you that you're the worst thing ever. And so when somebody does that, lashes out and hurts you, a lot of times we feel like we deserve it or have earned it in some way. I mean, you've been
It's
in
like
that
the
situation,
classic
right?
bully situation. Usually when somebody is bullying you, it's because they have their own issues
Their
that
insecurities.
they're projecting onto you. So
Right.
you didn't do anything wrong. It's not
You're
your
okay.
fault
You're going to be okay.
most of the time.
Most of the time. I mean, look, if you do something wrong, you own up to it. You be honest. It still doesn't give somebody the right to be an absolute monster towards you,
I
obviously.
think we just tend to feel mistreated as
Right.
INFJs is what it comes down to.
Right, or feel like we deserve foul words,
are
but you
we
don't
so
deserve
self-deprecating?
we really are. It's a thing. I really do think it's that FI. It's that critical parent, that little voice that tells you you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not skilled enough,
So
you're
the
not
second
artistic
like
enough,
somebody
whatever.
says it, you're already feeling it.
It's reinforcing something that your brain is
So,
always
of course,
just
you're gonna
goofing around
believe
with.
it.
Right, which you didn't. And so that is a difficult thing, because during your life as an INFJ, you're going to have these situations where you're going to be stepping out a little bit and going out on a limb, right? And you're going to be looking for some kind of feedback, or you're going to get it, and it's going to come from a bad place from
Validation.
somebody. Yeah, you're going to be looking for it. You may get some kind of a critique. Somebody might be critical of
I
who
guess I
you
never
are, how
thought
you
of it
are,
that
whatever.
way. We seek validation, but sometimes like it's negative.
Oh, for sure.
Like we think we suck, and then like somebody validates that they think we also suck, and we're like, oh, I guess we suck.
Never gonna do that again.
Yeah.
Right. Which
never
I
thought of
mean,
it that way.
honestly, if we treated every situation like that, like then as people we wouldn't be doing
Do anything at all.
Right, and that's not the way to go. So understand that when people are harmful towards you, it's not you. They're harmful towards you
Yeah.
because they are hurting. Doesn't mean go fix them.
No.
Doesn't mean go fix them.
No.
But understanding where that's coming from is really important.
Yeah.
On to the next one. Number 4 on our list is balance. All about balance. And I'm going to throw it to you to
Yeah.
do the balance thing.
Balancing your empathy in the sense that, like, you want to be an empathetic person, obviously, but you have to know, like, where to draw that line and when to not drain yourself completely, like you said, trying to fix people, which is a term that I don't enjoy. But,
Right.
you know, you're pouring so much of yourself, and then your friends and your family tend to kind of pick up on that, and they begin to start relying on you and that empathy and that nurturing aspect to your personality, and it can become very draining to the point where you almost want to just shut it off. You talked about that
Right.
in a video recently. So I think finding that balance in between somewhere that works for you, where you're still being an empathetic, kind, compassionate human being that cares about people and the world, but also, like, to a degree that's healthy for you as well.
Right. If
And then you
are,
mentioned-
if you're constantly putting people in front of you, you're teaching them that you come second.
Yeah.
And that's not really fair to yourself. So
People
you
take
really
advantage without even realizing
without
it
even knowing.
either.
No,
like,
no.
they're not doing it.
you're always there as a voice
in
to
a
talk
bad,
to.
yeah, they're
so
not
like, you
being
know,
a jerk at all. They're just
Right.
so used to you being there that they don't realize that they might be draining you.
And look, if it's out of a desire to help people a great deal, you have to also understand that part of helping somebody is letting them find that path and not walking them down it on their own or dragging them across the finish line, which I've done with some people, or at least tried to, but it never works because they didn't want to get to that finish line anyway. And so it's a fruitless effort, and it is really, really draining. And understanding you're an emotional sponge, right? You've got a lot of that FE going on and that extroverted feeling. So anything that's negative out there, those things are going to get absorbed. Even if you can say, like, I can stand back and I can offer advice to a friend of mine that's going through a really hard time, you're going to need to recover a little bit.
Yeah.
If it's a really draining, dramatic kind of conversation, you may
Take
need
a bubble bath, girl. You deserve it.
I'm going to take a bubble bath, girl.
Yes.
I deserve it.
Some bath
I
salts in there.
only have a shower.
Yeah.
I need like a kiddie pool and like Mr. Bubble, and I'll just like splash in the kitchen.
I'd do it.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll do it. That's our next vlog.
No, but you mentioned something before too, like the struggle to stay positive in a world that can feel so
Overwhelmingly
negative.
negative. Right.
Because, like, everything you see is just negative on the news. Right. And we're very empathic. We absorb all of that. So, like, where do you draw that line with yourself is another aspect to finding that balance with your empathy. Like, you have to look out for you, essentially.
A favorite topic of yours, too, right? Because you've got all that negativity that's like, look, if you turn on the TV and you turn on any news, just don't, right? Because it's just super negative and everybody's getting shot or dying, or there's like, it's just like everything's just really awful, right? But there's also negativity through social media. And then there's also something called toxic positivity, right? So how does that affect you?
That's when people are like, oh, don't worry about it. You'll be fine. Or, you know, there's phrases like, that people say that are well-meaning, like, oh, it could be worse, you know, things like that people think that they're just like trying to be positive,
invalidates.
But they don't realize that's toxic, because you're devaluing like that person's actual feelings. Right. You know what I mean? Like, you know, if you're really going through something, if you're like in an abusive relationship, for example, somebody saying to you like, oh, it could be worse.
Right.
Is not helpful. That is an example of toxic positivity.
Or just something as simple as going on like Instagram, right?
It's all over social media.
You may have a thing
so
where,
much toxic positivity.
where you're not feeling, you know, up to where you want to be in terms of your body or how you look or something like that, and you go on social media and that's just all it's about is how good and
There's a lot
understanding
of body positivity on social media, though. You just
there
have
is.
to
I think things are starting to
be
come
mindful
around.
of the accounts that you follow,
Right,
for
right,
sure.
right. And try not
That's up to you to determine like what your feed looks like. That's why I love having a plant Instagram. It's literally just plants. I just scroll through plants all day. Yeah.
No, that's it, because plants don't care. They're good. They're happy as they're
always
plants.
positive.
Right, unless they have thrips. So one other thing to touch on here is trying not to be sad all the time.
Yeah, because you see those depressing headlines. You see these
Right.
these things going on, and you're like, how can people be so awful? It feels like fruitless sometimes to even try and be positive when feels like there's so much negativity out there.
Right. And one of the things that always fascinated me, just like as a thought kind of experiment, was that whole butterfly effect thing, right? And so one of the ways, and this is something that I struggled a great deal with, was that kind of negativity. And one of the ways that I found that I was able to get around it was making a difference just locally. And so for me, that was running a martial arts school, because then I could take some younger kids in there that normally wouldn't have anything to do and teach them how to say things like yes, sir, and no, sir, and, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, please, and thank you, how to work hard towards something, absolutely, something about achievement, something where they really felt like they had earned something. And I'd have a class. I mean, at one point that school was turning, probably 100 people through the doors every night. And I explained to people, that look, I'm trying to affect positive change on a large scale. And even though maybe it's all of like 60 kids in and out, but those kids are going to grow up, they're going to go to college, they're going to be out and around different states all over the world, and they're going to remember these lessons and hopefully pass it on to somebody else. And so that was my way of saying, okay, I can't fix the world. Like, as much as it like hurts and all this negativity sucks,
One person at a time.
I can change some of these kids, and then these kids can grow up, and then those lessons can kind of carry on. And I think it's important to find those things as an INFJ where, okay, maybe you can't save all the kiddies.
No, but
right?
that's why
but you can
to
do
help
some
people.
things to help out. Right.
Yeah.
There's
If
different
I
things
can
that you
help
can
one
do.
person through, changing their diet
Right.
or their lifestyle habits and just improve their quality of life, then I feel good about that.
This channel's a perfect example, right? I'm sitting
Yeah.
here and staring at a camera and hanging out
I'm
with
actually genuinely surprised sometimes that people reach out and tell me how much I help them. I'm like, I'm talking about plants. You know what I mean? But like, they're like, no, you're relatable, and I
Right.
just enjoy, like, I feel understood. And like,
Right,
I
right.
think that's a big thing here for this channel.
Feeling seen.
too.
We might touch on that later too.
Yes.
All right, so on to the next one.
Yes.
Number 3 on this list on our journey towards the number 1 thing that I believe is probably one of the hardest life lessons you'll learn as an INFJ. Number 3 is trusting your intuition, listening to your gut, and having a little bit of faith that it's actually correct.
Yeah.
And that you kind of, on a cognitive level, on a subconscious level, you have your own back. Think of it like this. Think of a hand on a hot plate, right? A hand on a hot stove. Your hand's not sizzling, and then you're like, oh yeah, right, I'm being burned, I should probably take that. It doesn't
Your
work that way.
nervous system doesn't
No,
allow
it's an
for that to
automatic
happen.
reaction. Like ow, that freaking hurts, right? So
Yeah.
I'm taking my hand off. Your intuition is going to work in a very similar way, and that it's going to know when things
Don't
are
ignore
off.
that gut, that first instinct.
Right? That little pit of your stomach
Yes.
thing that's just like,
We love to
"Duh."
ignore it.
I
Especially when
know.
it's telling us the opposite of what we want.
Because
it
we
to
want
say.
something
Yeah.
different, right? We want something different. Your intuition's like, nah, not happening.
But then we tend to question ourselves. We love to second guess ourselves. It's like our favorite thing to do. And then you start overthinking your own gut feeling, and then you've lost like your whole sense of intuition because now you're
Direction.
just overthinking it. You're
you're
trying to put too much
directionless.
logic
Right.
into it, and you're just making yourself confused.
Right. You do end up lacking a path forward. And so being able to listen to that and really put yourself, again, it's that sort of thing where teaching everybody that you're putting them first. Like at some point you've got to be the primary. You've got to be the first person, because if you're not okay, you can't help other people be okay.
Yeah.
And if you're not balanced, and if you're not having a real understanding of yourself and working through those kinds of things, how are you going to help other people do something similar?
Yeah.
So really listening to your gut and saying, okay, like I know something is wrong about this situation. Or digging back and looking over the last few days. Like if you have a stretch of days where you start to feel really terrible, this happens to me all the time, where it's like I look back, I'm like, okay, it's Thursday. I feel like crap, like just I'm emotionally drained and I'm depressed. What happened to me on Sunday? What happened on Monday? What happened on Tuesday? Was something said somewhere? Was something just really off-putting? Did I receive, I don't know, some bad news in some way, or did somebody say something really critical that I just kind of took a little bit too much to heart? And so I find that when I look back at that, I'm like, you know what, intuition, you were right. Like I'm not feeling well because of this, and that's why. It's subconscious. So sometimes you have to kind of dig into yourself to figure it out. Right.
That's why learning how to recognize it and listen to it like immediately when it's happening is going to be the first step in protecting yourself.
Yes, your intuition
as an INFJ
has your best interest at heart.
Yes.
Right.
You have to trust that you have your own back and that your intuition is you having your own back, and you need to listen to it because it's better than anything, really. Like what is better than listening to your own intuition? That's like the best
how many times
advice anybody's ever going to give you.
Have you looked back and thought to yourself, you know what, I should have seen that coming?
Yeah, or been like, oh, that makes sense now.
Right.
Like I had this weird feeling, but I ignored it because like X, Y, and Z on the surface like didn't add up to the usually it's about a person, you know what I mean? Like they were acting this way, but my intuition said this about them, but I'm gonna go with, you know, what I'd prefer over here, the way that they're acting. And then one day in the future when they do something that maybe is hurtful or something along those lines, you look back and you're like, okay, well now I understand that gut feeling.
Right, but at the time you're like, that's not a red flag, it's more like a maroon flag.
Pink.
It's like a little on
pretty.
The burgundy side. Yes, it's a nice color. It's lovely. Why does it have a skull and crossbones on it? I'm not really sure.
Yeah, so basically having your own back is one of the most important life lessons as an INFJ, and really as anybody.
It's a hard one to learn.
It's hard for us.
It takes practice to listen to your intuition and really just kind of try and guide yourself that way. Number 2 on this list is setting boundaries and not feeling like you are a terrible person for setting a boundary.
Yeah.
Think about it. It's a boundary, right? If you're drawing a line in the sand, if somebody crosses that line, crossing a boundary, you don't want them to do it. You can't just be like, I'm sorry, I drew a line there.
Yes, the next step in protecting yourself as an INFJ. You've learned how to listen to your intuition. Now you have to learn how to create boundaries for yourself.
Right.
Because that's going to help you, especially when it comes to balancing your empathy. Because that's where you're going to learn where to draw those lines with people, where you have to step back and be like, I'm sorry, this is too much for me right now. I need to take a breather.
Right. And it's knowing what's best for you and what's best for you to be a whole and healthy person. Look, you're an INFJ, you're also an introvert, right? You need to recharge with a little bit of alone time, doing something that is an activity that you enjoy, that is yours, right? If you're in a situation where you're not allowed to do that, or somebody is like scoffing at the idea of you having a little bit of self-care, well, I mean, what is that person to you then? Really? So I think that boundary, being like, no, you know what? Like I went out with you guys last night.
Yeah.
I'm not going out tonight. Right. Like I'm going to sit at home.
I have a date with Netflix. Okay.
I have a date with the lake house with Keanu. And with a box of tissues.
Video without
and Sandra.
You talking about the lake house. And
I'm going to eat my candy
Keanu
corn.
Reeves.
No, I'm not going to do that.
I feel like for Halloween now, you're going to have to be Keanu Reeves and I'll be Sandra Bullock.
I would do
from
that.
The lake house.
Can I be John Wick Keanu?
I guess so.
Which brings us to number 1 on this list.
Numero uno. Arguably the most important
which I
life
forgot.
lesson.
Number 1 on the list is finding your individuality, right? And is loving yourself and being okay with who you are and how you are and doing you, right?
Boo.
This is boo. Boo. This means a lot of things. This means communicating your needs to other people, For sure. And
Self-love.
not just like you're not just running into a room of people and being like, okay, everybody, this is what I need. I need you all to be quiet for the next half hour.
I mean, I
need
may
some
or may
chocolate
not have done
right
that
now.
before.
I need somebody draw
Wait,
a warm
so that's
bath.
not okay
It's a
to
little
do?
It's a little bossy. It's a little bossy. Like, you might want to consider their needs as well.
That's good
but
to
yours
know.
are important, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I joke. Sort
A
of.
little bit. Sort of. I joke, but go draw the bath and give me the chocolate. Like, it's really hard to be an INFJ and to have, we all have a little bit of an identity crisis going on from one time to another. Sometimes it's just a struggle knowing who you are and being comfortable with it and being
nobody
okay
else
with it.
seems to understand us either.
No, that just piles onto the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
So finding
Find
out
your tribe.
authentically who you are, what do you like, and just get into that and be that.
Yes.
Find your
because
tribe.
people are
Right.
going to like you for you, and it is honestly one of the most beautiful things that I've ever experienced.
It
like
is nice.
once I felt comfortable being 100% myself and stopped caring what other people were going to think I was a nerd or think I was, weird or whatever, the more people are actually drawn to me that are like me because they
Right.
relate to me. And I've never experienced that before. I've always tried to just be what I thought people wanted to a degree.
Right.
Not like completely, but there's always like that little bit of you that is concerned and might alter how you act around different people
for
just
sure.
slightly.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Once I stopped caring, let me tell you, I feel like I'm surrounded by like the greatest people that
Right.
I've ever met. And it's literally just because I decided to be okay being my authentic self.
Right. And a lot of it is understanding that you can't please everybody.
No.
And
why would you want to?
If anything, I think
How
it's
boring is that?
look, I've had negative comments from people on this channel
Those are my favorite.
that have said that you're not a real INFJ if you ever think that you can just like do what you want and you don't care what somebody else thinks. That is a very toxic way to think about yourself as an INFJ.
Yeah, we're all just like
it's not
unhealthy,
true.
like
Right.
squishes of people.
No, you're not at the
You
mercy
need a
of
backbone.
you're not at the mercy of making all the narcissists happy out there. I'm sorry to tell you, right? Like that's not how you should be living, okay? So you should be firm in who you are and be okay with who you are and understand that there are people that are not going to like you,
Yeah.
and it's fine.
I mean, you should still be open.
Right, I know, don't be a jerk.
Obviously,
Yeah.
to other people's opinions and stuff.
Right. Have tact.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, please have tact. If somebody's like,
Don't be
I'm
a
not sure
turd.
about your thing, and then you'd be like,
Yeah.
just like punch him. Like, you can't be doing stuff like that, right? So don't be a turd. That would make a really good T-shirt. Just don't be a turd.
With like a little poop emoji.
Right. I went with Wonder Bread today, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine are the poisonous plants that'll kill you.
It's just this.
The
Go
shirt
figure.
is from Boardwalk
Your
T-shirts,
you
by
just
the way.
this is just our attitudes, right? Your poisonous plants. I'm carbs.
You know what? Wolfsbane literally is not even traceable. It just like will give you like a heart attack.
All right, so you can
nobody will
also watch this
understand why.
channel if you need to know how to kill somebody with a plant. I mean, you can't be telling people that. Oleander leaves no trace. I'm just saying. It's fine.
Yeah, but you can just Google it. It's not a secret.
Right.
They're not illegal to grow either.
No, this is terrifying. This took a turn.
Anyway,
Really, what it comes down to is to do you.
boo.
Right? Be the sweet, sweet INFJ and all that jazz. And you're going to be okay. These are hard lessons to learn, but you're going to get through it. And just try and have the right perspective and make sure that you're not just taking all the time on everything else and not putting yourself first. I think that's what a lot of this comes down to.
Yeah.
Is to take care of you're great at dealing with other people. And you're great at taking care of other people. Take care of yourself.
Yeah,
right?
you have to so that like you can continue to be a good person out
Be
there
your
in the
best.
world because the world needs people like us.
Yeah, of course.
If we all just end up defeated and trying to shut off our empathy, then
that's no good.
yeah,
No, that's
like
no
what
good.
good are we doing for the
No.
world?
No, remember, I mean, I say this to you all the time on this channel, but you are a gift, right?
Yeah.
And that's really important to keep in mind.
We might not
and-
be the rarest best.
No.
But we are definitely unique.
Jedi
and
mind
special
powers.
in our own ways.
I can use my Jedi mind powers to make this great book just float across the...
Good. You're so talented. That was amazing.
Terrible. You saw my hand. Ooh. All right, there we go. It's fine. All right. Anyway, thank you so much for watching and hanging out with us.
We appreciate you.
Please, pretty please, like, subscribe, hit the bell, and all that kind of stuff. If you enjoyed this video, I would love it if you bought the book and put up a review on Amazon. I'm super close
to 100.
100. I know, it's very exciting. I'm like
Very
6 or 7
Maybe
away.
we'll have a party when you hit 100.
Ooh, yeah,
Do
a
a
party.
live stream
I'm always
party.
good with a party, but like not the day after I already went to a party, because then I'm not going to want to do it because I'm an introvert.
No, and like introvert party where we're all at home in our own beds on the computer.
Yeah, it's not really a party. We'll just say hi. It's fine. It's okay. Yeah. And also, please, pretty please, head over to Jacqueline's channel and give her a sub as well. She got awesome content.
If you want to talk about Bland.
You can talk about all the plans and the thrips and the things, and
there's been a few
go
flying
plant
around
shopping.
this whole time.
And also, we're hanging out on there, and I act like a dolphin at one point.
There's a few vlogs up
There's a
of
few
us
vlogs
just
where
traveling.
we're just being weird and having some fun. So check that out if you want to see more of us doing whatever this is. And thank you. Thank you so much. And I will see you on the next video very, very soon.